Hello and welcome to Mama Says. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Amber Autry, and this week I talked to Hunter and Karen Wolfe, and it is one of my favorite episodes. These two humans are so kind and funny, open, and wise. We talk about Karen's experience as a military wife, traveling across the country and sometimes around the world with 3 kids on her own. It's amazing. She also reminds you on several occasions to never fret. It's all going to be okay. I know you'll love this episode just like I did, so make sure to get real cozy and enjoy this episode of Mama Says.
So this is my mom, Karen. She's a good Karen. We've actually, like, my whole life kind of have just referred to as Mama Wolfe. So this is Mama Wolfe to friends and family who we meet. And I mean, you're not supposed to be best friends with your mom, but I think she's my best friend. So
Yes.
yeah,
That's
she's super
wonderful.
cool. So.
All right, this is Hunter Wolfe, Unterja, aka Little Brother. So being the third child, kept everything light and humorous and kept me grounded in that on a daily basis. So I feel when there needed to be zaps of humor, Hunter was there to lighten the load and make everything go well.
That is okay. You're just gonna make me cry in the introduction. Okay, that is beautiful. So, obviously, your last name is Wolfe, so that's where Mama Wolfe comes from. But is there like characteristics of like you keep the pack together, like?
Yeah. So there have been times, being a retired military wife, you're both parents. You have to wear the mom hat and then wear the dad hat at times. And sometimes, it's referred to as I bring out my bear claws when I need to defend my children or stand up for them. So then that became a thing. And then I think later in life, being introduced to Hunter's friends, it just became, well, this is Mama Wolfe. And all his friends would call me that. So yeah, so there's the bear and the wolf aspect. So if you think about it, I'm a Gemini, so I feel there's two. There's the two. Yeah.
I would also say, like, as part of that, like, wearing 2 hats thing, and you had mentioned, like, the Wolfe Pack aspect, I do believe that in a pack, the mom is the one that goes out and hunts for her family, and that's literally, like, not even in, like, a food sense, because, yes, she has done that, but, like, in every aspect, she has done nothing but provide for us. And, like, being in the military, like, moving around a lot, she has to be the one to, like, get these kids across the country, and, like, she has to, like, not show that, she's stressing or anything, because then that stress oozes into her children. So she just has to be able to, she's a rock star.
Yeah. So Karen, can you talk about that a little bit? So like you guys moved around a lot and you have how many kids?
I have 3.
You have 3. So like, what were the challenges and the amazing parts of like getting them assimilated and checking out new areas? Like, what was that like?
Let's see. I've sold 3 houses on my own.
What?
Yeah. So, yeah. And so this is all before computers. This is all before cell phones. I would call home for guidance or just comic relief or just to check in with people. The hardest part, we were very young, stationed in Scotland, and you couldn't make those phone calls. So,
Wow.
just the way we think how easy it is now to communicate with people, you waited or you wrote letters. So anyway, to get the kids acclimated.
Well, you had said, like, so during our, like, trips in between destinations,
Right.
we kind of each had our own little level as far as like the car was concerned. So she had a like big old minivan.
I bought the minivan because I had to haul kids and a dog. So this minivan.
Wait, you had a dog too?
Yeah. So the minivan, this is funny, had an extended back cab, and I'm like, this must be the one I need. So I packed everybody in, and this is when we were leaving Mississippi, and we were going to San Diego, but there was a summer break, so we just drove up north and spent time with family, bebopping back and forth from Illinois to Indiana, and then eventually loaded everybody up and drove to San Diego.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And like Sloan could sit in the front seats,
right,
and then I would be in my car seat in like the middle, and then Logan would just be like passed out in the back, dead to the world for the whole drive. So
right.
you know,
amazing.
each had like amazingly had our own space in a packed van somehow. So
yeah,
I think
because your mom's a boss, she handled it.
Right.
The goal was each day we had to drive as far as we could using daylight, but their reward was a hotel with a pool. So then they knew, then we would just be on the lookout for like, okay, there's a hotel, they have a pool, or so that was their reward.
Or like that other thing, like, do you take dogs as well? Like,
right.
I have a dog, and I put my dog in this hotel room.
Right,
It's just like
so that was
crazy.
Yeah.
What an experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
It
amazing.
It was. Yeah.
So you have 3 kids, which is awesome. Specifically with Hunter, what's like the baby story? Was it easy? Was, like the pregnancy? How did that go?
Did you know about that at all? So let me backtrack. We knew there was someone missing in our family. Like someone's missing. And so I became pregnant with Hunter. And then unfortunately, in my first month, I was bleeding rectally, and they couldn't figure out why. And they first said it was hemorrhoids, and I kept saying, no, it's different. And then my pregnancy kept progressing, and then my doctor realized I wasn't gaining weight. And then she gave me the permission to like, you need to eat whatever you can. But they still didn't have a diagnosis. And so by my 7th month, I said, I've had enough. All food runs through me, everything like that. So they did a mini colonoscopy and found I had ulcerative colitis in my colon.
What is that?
That's where you bleed. That's where I believe your immune system attacks the lining in your colon. And so then it was like, what do I do now? And I was reluctant to take any medicine. And they sort of like, well, you're almost done with your pregnancy. Let's try to stop the bleeding. And all I wanted was a healthy baby. We didn't know what we were having. That was the other thing. And so I think 8th month, I don't know, my husband was out to sea, and they wanted to do an ultrasound to see how baby was and all of that, and found out that we were having a boy. So he comes back from work ops, from just being out at sea, like Monday through Friday, and he goes, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. Because that was his thing. Gosh, will my wife go into labor when I'm not here?
Right.
And I said, well, we're having a boy. And he goes, oh, I didn't think I wanted to know that. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
So Hunter's born. He's healthy. I'm good. I'm getting on, medical attention for myself. But I have to say, I think he knew instinctively to be the easygoing child, to go with the flow with everything and anything that needed to happen, because my oldest is ADHD. So he had his own hurdles to deal with every day. Right. So Logan had his thing, Sloan was trying to do her thing, and here's this baby just, all right, I'll go with the flow. So I feel he's always done that in his Hunter way.
That's wonderful. What a beautiful story. So, what would you say, I'm sure there's plenty, but what would you say is the most beautiful thing you find in each other? Like if someone was like, what's the greatest thing about each other? What would you say off the top of your head?
I don't know. It's like you said, like there's so many things. I think my mom and I just like kind of are on like the same wavelength at times. Like even with the way we communicate, I think my sense of humor comes from her. And so it's, it's like she said, it's like, it's kind of like, what do we need right now? We need a little bit of laughter and stuff. And I also feel like, she says I'm go with the flow, but I feel like that's something that I've learned from her. And so, whenever we're doing what we're doing, you just have to, that's what you're doing. So we're hanging out. And I think like my mom just has like good energy always, or tries to, like, whatever situation.
She's like, haha.
Kind of like, she's very good at like sitting back and like taking in what is happening around her, and then very specifically like placing her words and her actions appropriately in order to like, kind of, I don't know, center a room.
Yeah.
Or anything. She's very good at that.
That's powerful. That's great.
Mm-hmm. It's very, and I think like, I'm saying this now, but she had to have done that her whole life, and with her kids. And what are you giving me right now that this child is also, and how do I balance all that? And that's just good at it.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So what about Karen? What about Hunter? What do you love so much about him? I know there's a ton.
There is just his, I believe his enthusiasm for life. Exudes this enthusiasm of what are we doing now? What do we need to do here? I want to learn this.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It just exudes life, and just what can you accomplish in a day?
That's great. Like a great team.
Yeah. So.
Did you always want to be a mom, Karen?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. So I believe around age 10 is when my youngest sister was born. And then I just helped my mom. I just always helped my mom. I babysat everybody. I took care of everybody.
My mom's the oldest of 3 girls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My mom, and then my Aunt Leslie, and then my Aunt Morgan, who was born when my mom was 10. So I believe I've just taken on that bossy older sister role for not only me and my sisters, but I feel everybody. So it's like being that mother hen, collecting everybody as I go and mothering them as needed, or So always wanted to be a mom.
When you already had like kind of the experience as an older sister. When you became a mom, do you like, what were some of the things that surprised you about being like a mom to your own kids? Or was it pretty much like, oh, I've experienced this before, I know what's going on?
You mean through motherhood as I was having the kids, or?
Yeah, like raising them. Did they, like, what surprised you, since you kind of like raised in part your siblings or helped? Was there anything that kind of surprised you, or biggest challenges? She's like, I'm just a boss, I really don't know.
I think the biggest challenges was when my son Logan was struggling with school, I struggled in school. And then so when that reflects on your child, that is just eye-opening in itself, because you don't, I think with motherhood, as you're raising children, they're their own human being. But then when they have traits of maybe what you went through, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. How would I have wanted someone to intervene when I was your age?
Man.
How would I want someone to be in my corner, to be my advocate? And so Logan came home with a letter and just said, Mrs. Wolfe, Logan's gonna struggle and do all this. And it was probably a progress report. So I called her and I said, can we find another adjective to describe my son? Because if you're gonna label him struggling his whole life, we need a new word. And so she personally called me and apologized because she didn't realize that she had done that. So yes, he had issues in school, but he was his own creative being and he just learned differently. And he still does today. Well, they all do, but having that aspect of knowing, okay, this is how I need to structure his day, and it's different from his sister and then Hunter when they were really little.
Right.
So not only did we have like, okay, these are the family rules of what needs to be done. But then I realized as they got older, each individual person sort of needed to be sat down and go, okay, this is what is expected of you because you're this age. And these are your rules and this is what is allowed. And
That's amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, that's really great parenting. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
So Hunter, what's one thing that you did as a kid or a teenager, whatever, that you never told your mom, but you feel like she'd be cool about now? And you're welcome to pass on the question, but just know that your mom's right there.
I think she knows she has, I guess this would be the first time I told her, but like she knows. Oh man.
She's gonna love you regardless.
It's also like an appropriate time to do this. This all makes sense. I did drink in high school. With my friends and stuff. So.
Okay, so that was on the sly and you had to come home and be all cool.
Yeah, well, yes. There was definitely a time, and this was after high school, I came home. I was doing a show with a few friends who were older, and they were like, we're going to have a little party afterwards and blah, blah, blah. So I was, 18, 19.
Oh, okay.
And so.
All right. I'm thinking 15, 16, because he jumped
right
to the theater group right as going into his freshman year. All right, continue.
So then I came home the next day, and I came home early, the sun was rising, and my dad's usually up early, but I was locked out of the house, and I was just so hungover.
Oh no!
And I think I was carrying something. I had to have been carrying something, and I walked in the house, and they were both like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm I just think about that all the time. You had to have known. You had to have known when I'm like, hey, I'm going to stay at this person's house. You're like, yeah, okay, be safe, blah, blah, blah. And then I show up the next morning and I'm they knew. And they're like, yeah, go to bed. Do your thing.
Mama Wolfe, did you know?
No.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I didn't know.
No, because that's the other thing.
Make good choices.
I feel like one thing that my mom always said was I always held myself to a high standard, and so I think that was another part of it. And you see the kids in school, and you're like, oh my god, I'm never gonna be like that. So whenever that opportunity came, I was like, I'm gonna be as smart about this as I can. And then there were there would be stuff in school that I'd come home and be like, oh my god, so-and-so got in trouble for this. They lost all their activities for school. And so that was a big thing that my mom had said. That was listen, if you're ever in any situation, I don't care where you are, what you've done, what time it is, call us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come get you. We'll deal with whatever, but please know that you can call us, and that's a big thing. I think
It is.
There's a huge level of I guess fear mongering of threatening, if you ever do this,
mm-hmm.
Yada, yada, yada. But, having parents that are listen, if you're ever in shit, you can call us and we're going to help you.
Right.
I think that's part of my mom's thing of like, if who's advocating for me, who was advocating for me. And so having parents that would be like, call us, whenever you need.
1,000%.
Yeah.
It's so important. My mom was the same about like knowing that there's experiences that I'm going to have growing up. But she was like, when you experience this, if you want to, just let me know where you are. And so I can come to you if you're in trouble. And that's like, I had friends that their moms were like, never do this. And they wild out, they like.
Exactly. Well, also the thing was, especially for his sister, because she was doing sports, and if things were happening and you got caught and guilty of association was the big thing. So if you were caught at a party, then that was the other thing. And I told her, I'm like, if you're ever in a situation, just call me. Like if you've gotten a ride with friends and you're like, oh crap, I don't want to be here, then you just call.
Yes.
Just call, and then we'll figure out.
That's important. Like, that's scary, I bet, as a mom, to imagine all of these scenarios that your kid could get into, but then choosing to be like, you've got this, you're a smart human, and I will be here for you.
Also, like, whenever you would leave the house, the final words you hear is like, make good choices. And also, like, putting faith in your children of, I've raised them to be who they are, and therefore they will take care of themselves.
Totally.
In a way. So I think that was pretty powerful in general.
So Karen, is there a story that Hunter's never heard about your teenage years that you'd like to share?
There was one time we were sitting around a campfire with like her sisters and everything, and I don't know, I think I was in middle school, and I was just sitting back in this like lawn chair, and I was like, let's hear it, Mom. What'd you do as a kid, or blah blah blah. So I feel like my mom was a troublemaker, by the way. But I've known tidbits here and there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Just being the oldest child, you're the one that breaks in your parents first, and then I feel they get lenient down the road.
They sure do.
And yeah, trying to hang out with the older kids, older than you, and then drinking, and then trying or coming home thinking everything's all right, or I don't know, wild, crazy. I don't know.
I feel like there wasn't any.
No.
The only one that I like specifically remember was like the bowling story.
Oh yeah, so I would tell my folks, we're going bowling. Okay, great. And then we were visiting family in Texas, and my cousin comes in and says, your dad says you're a really good bowler because you go every Friday night. And I was like, she's like, and we're going bowling.
No.
We're all going bowling.
No.
Well, or something. But
That's probably like her first time bowling.
Yeah, and I'm sure they knew. I'm sure they knew.
Right, like parents know.
They do. They do. And I broke, curfew and all that other stuff, but I think that was just
normal teenager.
Just being defiant and
right.
Yeah.
So what makes you proud about each other? Like, I'm sure you've seen each other go through some hard times and changes throughout your life. So what's something that's really made you proud of the other one?
I don't know. I feel like I say it all the time, but like, I don't think there's not a thing that my mom can't handle. And like the way that she raised us, and, like literally just like, you get these marching orders from dad and be like, you have to be at this location, you have to sell this house, pack up this house, move the family across the country. She's just like the most resilient person in the world. Like, yeah. And I've also, I feel like as part of that, like you rarely see like your parents show that to you. And so I feel like, no matter what stress was going on, she was always able to handle it with her own stresses, like hiding. And, as an adult now, like, you get to talk to your mom about things and be like, oh my gosh, like this, and this. And she can be like, I know this. And so I think I'm also like most proud of our relationship. I think we have a great relationship. And like I said, she's my best friend.
That's
I
wonderful.
just love doing stuff with her. So like driving across the country to be here. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, you guys drove up together?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Margaret and Gray back home. Yeah, so I'm proud of Hunter just because, I don't know, I think they always think the baby of the family has the easiest. His siblings will say that. But in retrospect, I think being the last one at home has taught him to be self-reliant. Like when he went off to Chicago, so Hunter's always just done things like, this is what I'm doing, and this is where I'm going to go. I'm like, all right, so how do we prepare you to do that? Like, so when he just like, this is what I'm doing, all right, let's figure this out quickly. And it was a mourning process for me because he had to go do this. There was no like, well, let's wait or no, it's, you're going. This is what you've made your mind up to do. Let's figure out how we can get you into Chicago and how to make that work. And I believe he did. He had to figure it all out. And yeah, so I'm very proud that he's done all that. He's made amazing friends. It's probably, I'm hoping it's reflection on building your own tribe. So as a military wife, I've always gathered or been around women whose children want to play with my children, and then they have that same like-mindedness in raising your family. So then you become this little tribe, and everyone gets together and plays and has dinners or whatever. But I feel he has built his own in Chicago. So I have this safe set of friends that I do things with. And yeah, I'm just very proud of his energy to do things, energy to want to always try something new, whatever that could be. And I think that's just always him. He always wants to do something new.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, I know that, eventually when your kids grow up, you're like, you kind of take a step back as they start making their own decisions. And is that like does that just gradually, you wake up one day and you're like, oh, they're not a baby? Or is it like my mom, she's like, you're always my baby. And when you ask me to like boil an egg, I'm so excited because I get to.
Okay, listen, this morning I woke up, I sat down next to my mom and I was like, can you please make me a cup of tea? I am like so serious, and I think it's like part of the reason that I don't drink as much tea as I used to. I cannot make it the way my mom does. She puts the love in there. There's just like, so I had, that moment of being like, listen, I am still your baby, and it's what I need. Please and thank you. But I think on like the other hand, like, especially now, like during this whole like quarantine pandemic situation about like how do we navigate this, or like what do we do? I think my mom, and maybe she doesn't outwardly share this, where she's like, you're my baby, you must stay here, you must come to me always. Mm-hmm. There was always, so she was like, he's always go go go, but there was a level of my mom being like, you need to go and not come back. And I feel like that's pretty big, especially from like different mother to child relationships that I've heard of. Mm-hmm. And my mom is just very much like, for all her kids, like, go and do what you need to do. I'll be here, when you need me. Mm. And like, I'm sure my mom would love to have us all living on the same street right next to her, but that's not, a reality. And I don't think that's something that she wants for her kids. And so I feel like that's something that she really like advocates for us to do. And so like, in this hecticness of like, what do we do during this time? Or what do we do during this time? I think, and like, do we go here or do we go with Chelsea to Tennessee? And I think there was just a moment that my mom was like, just go. Like, I'm sure my mom would have loved to have us there for the whole time. Don't go to Chicago. Don't go here. Stay with me. Stay with us. We're all good. But she was just very much like, go.
Yeah, that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, was that hard, or do you feel like it just comes naturally because you want what's best for them, best for Hunter?
It was okay. So when he left, I realized it was a mourning process, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. It was like, why are you feeling this way, or what's going on? And there was just down to the two of us and a dog, and I thought, all right, what's wrong? So I'm mourning the fact that all my children have left. I don't know who to mother, and then the world of being a doula has come into play. So doula is mothering the mother as she's giving birth to a child. So that's the role of a doula. And I thought, perfect. Then I can help these young moms to birth with confidence, birth as they want to see themselves birth, and just be there, be that
Mama Wolfe Pack leader.
Correct. Like, there's the nurses and doctors that do the medical side, but I'm the empathetic side. I'm your sounding board. I'm there for their partner as well, because they have no clue. Especially if there's two young parents who this is their first child, how is he supposed to support her, even though she's going through all this? But I might be that relief for the partner as well, as in the sounding board of comfort. If he needs to sleep, I'm there, that extra security. So I feel, so always mothering somebody.
Okay, but that's a good point also, because I was like, my mom doesn't really show it that she wants to like keep us close. She's like, go do what you need to do. But I have noticed she will mother to the other sibling about said child.
As in,
well, like what?
Complain?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, maybe you can complain all you want. You've earned it. But like calling and being like, what is your brother doing? Oh my oh my gosh. So it's like, yes, you're there to support, my brother doing whatever he needs to do, but then you're gonna be like, what is he doing? Or like Sloan, I feel like sometimes Sloan will call me and she'll be like, hi, you need to call mom. You call mom and just say, so I don't, there's a level of that to it.
Yeah.
So I think also Slum brings the balance to
totally.
Both brothers on each side. So she's the middle, and she's learned to like keep them in check. So she is the rock for them, and sometimes for me, because I'll tell her, I'm like, I'm stuck on these words that I need to use, and I need some other words. And then she's like, oh, well, these are the words you will be helpful. And I'm like, perfect. So she's very methodical. Is there a method to her madness?
She just is always like, no shit.
Yeah.
Don't put like, don't give me anything that is like, not worth my time.
Right.
And so I feel like there's a level of like, calling people out on their bullshit and being like, I personally have shit to do, so you need to stop. Like whatever's going on, I'm going to tell you what I think is need to be done, and then I'm going to be on my way. She's like a hurricane. She'll like roll in, roll out.
And everything's shinier after she rolls out.
No. Shinier, emotionally, mentally, she does leave shit everywhere. She will like hurricane. I mean, she'll come and she'll be paint everywhere. She'll leave paint everywhere. Her hair is like blown out.
Her hair is crazy. And so on a good thinking day or creative day, she gets these curly tendrils And we sort of call them our curb feelers. That way she's been busy doing stuff. And she's just so beautiful. And she's a mess. She's just ink or paint and just dirt and just, you know.
I love that so much.
But she also probably has learned to, well, I think always she's had to stand her ground, being that she was always the tallest. So she's 6'2.5".
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. And so.
And the middle child, right?
Correct. So tall and just embracing her tallness, you know, and how to do all that.
Right.
And not be bogged down by it.
Is something cute coming around the corner?
Yeah.
Hi.
Say hi.
Yay!
Say hi to Amber.
Yeah.
Come here.
Hi, friend. Who is Gray? This is Gray?
Gray.
Hi, Gray. How are you? My name's Amber.
You say hi?
Who's your parents?
Say, I have a
You're
bob.
so cute.
I have a bob and a mom. I have a bob and a mom.
Oh,
And
This is Graham.
And I'm a Graham.
you're Graham. Oh, that's so nice. What's it like? Like, is it different being a Graham, or do you feel like the same motherly, like?
Oh, it's just I feel it's an extension. It's the caring. I wouldn't love any more or less or care, or I just do the same things that I would do with these guys.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Graham's the best.
Whatever her needs are would be like how I would mothered her, mothered her father and auntie and people. There you go. Yeah. And it's just pure joy. It's just pure joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You're so beautiful inside and out. Yeah, you. Well, I won't keep you guys too much longer. I know you're visiting with family. But I wanted to ask you, now that this conversation is stamped in time and you get to enjoy it forever, what is something you would like each other to know? Just so like that they know forever.
Sit up here and look.
I don't know. People say they have the best mom ever, but I'm like convinced deep in my soul that I have the best mom ever. And like we'll fight. I will fight somebody. And so I feel like, yeah, she needs to know that. And I think she does, but I feel like she doesn't give herself the credit all the time that she deserves of all the things that she has done and accomplished in her life and in turn has, you know, led to the accomplishments that we get to do. So I love you.
I love you.
That's so beautiful.
I think what I'd want Hunter to know, and I think they all know, is stay true to themselves and to always be adventurous and to try new things, no matter what age you are in life. I believe there are just, and that probably could be the military thing too. So every 4 years or so we would move and then experience something new, meet new friends along the way. So I feel almost every 3 to 4 years, do something new, take all those challenges, and by all means don't fret. Just don't. And in anything and everything, I think that's the biggest one that you need to do. Enjoy your day and are you tearing up?
No. I just love mom so much. That's so nice. That's good advice.
I think.
And I think like with don't fret, there was always, no matter what stress was going on in the world, it was, okay, we're not going to worry about it right now. Let's sit down. Let's have a cup of tea. I think that was like a big integration of our lives was like, let's just sit. have a cup of tea in the afternoon, and then whatever stress is like worrying you right now, we'll get to that. But don't. It's like she said, don't fret was a big word of advice from my mom. So.
Don't let the stress consume you. Which
just don't.
Right. What can we accomplish in that day? And
like all those things are ahead of you. So just don't let it like ruin this day. You know, take it one moment at a time, one day at a time, and you'll be okay.
I think also you need those phrases periodically. And I think for Hunter, just because he was doing so much and trying to memorize a lot of stuff, that was the other thing. And then get bogged down in other things and, you know, how do you compartmentalize? How do your waffle brain, where you're putting everything, but don't fret should be the front in that. So
that's beautiful. Well, I am truly, truly blessed and so happy to have met you, Karen. A doula, a military wife, an amazing mom, and Graham, just an amazing human that is a blessing to the world. I'm so grateful for you. And Hunter, I love you so much. You know this. I think you're amazing, and now I know where that came from. And I thank you guys for, you know, sharing your time with me, and I'm truly grateful to you.
all right.
I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. It's good to see you.
And don't fret.
I won't.
Okay. Very good.